So Black Friday is literally right around the corner as of me filming this video. So I figured it might be time to give you my buying guide for Lattafa. These are 6 fragrances from the house of Lattafa that if you don't have these already, you might want to add these to your list. See if you can find a deal on these. Be back in a moment. All right, what's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Kevin, and you are watching Smell Goods. Appreciate you coming through. Appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit as we talk through and discuss more fragrances, as I document my fragrance journey, but also hopefully in providing a safe space for you to learn more, to experience more, and to grab more fragrances. All right. So if this is content that you enjoy because you want to smell good, right? Hence the name Smell Goods. Do me the favor, do me the honor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, request notification, share. Meet me and the rest of the Smell Good Squad in the comments, and to my existing Smell Good Squad, good to see y'all again. All right. So as mentioned, this is that time of year where, listen, if you are a rack store hunter, as far as like going to like Burlington and to Marshalls and Ross and TJ Maxx, this is where they start to build out their selection. They start adding a few more shelves. They start pushing that shelf down. As far as fragrances, right? But also we know that Black Friday is right around the corner. In fact, as of this video, there's already a couple of places that have already announced and started putting out their Black Friday specials, or at least started their Black Friday sales. It may intensify, of course, as we move forward. But I figured one of the things I wanted to do was be able to provide you with a buying guide for certain houses, certain brands. So this one is dedicated to Lattafa. These are fragrances that if you haven't picked them up already, and some of you already may have picked some of these up, but these are 6 that I think that you should add to your collection, you should pick up and be on the lookout as we are in that season right now. Now, this is not in any particular order. This is not in a greatest to least or anything of that nature. These are just 6 fragrances from my collection that I'm saying, if you see these on a good deal, go ahead and you might want to pick them up because it's that time of year, right? First one should not come as any surprise to you. It is probably, well, actually, I'll say this. It is probably my #1 pickup from Lattafa for this year. I'm going to say it that way. Now, there are some other great ones that I got into the collection this year, but this is the one that I was like, Lattafa's trying to do something with this one. All right. So you already know I'm talking about from Lattafa. This one is Dynasty. And yes, that dent is a real dent. This has been in my collection, but you can see I've been wearing the snot out of it. This ginger, bergamot, Rubio's tea, suede, just a nice, fresh, woody type and spicy type of scent that for me, it works as a nice daily wear. I've worn this to the office many a time. This is when I reach for when heading to the office, or when I'm about, meeting with friends or what have you, whatever it may be. This is one that it's kind of easy to grab. It's just going to smell great. It's going to do all the things you want a fragrance to do. And if you find this on a deal during this holiday season, you might want to pick it up if you haven't already. Again, this is Dynasty from Lattafa. All right. Next one up is one that I picked up actually at the beginning of the year because it came out late last year. And this is another one that is, and I'm sorry, as far as Dynasty is an original creation. It is, some say it's inspired by this, inspired by that. Looking at the notes, it's not either of those things. It seems to be its own creation, a new creation from Lattafa. So that, in addition to that, we have another one that does not appear to be a clone, an inspired take of anything. It is its own original creation. And this would be, if Lattafa's Dynasty is my #1, this is #2, or Dynasty is #2, then this is #1. They're just that good. This one is Terriaq Intense from Lattafa. This is just a nice ambery, warm, spicy type fragrance. There's a plum liqueur note in here that just does really well. Works very nicely. There's cinnamon, there's some vanilla in this as well. Just a nice fragrance that has some sweetness to it. Not an overpowering, cloying sweetness or anything of that nature, but a nice sweetness that kind of has a little elevation to it, right? So this, there's a couple others that are going to be also kind of in that sweet frame of reference point, if you will. But this one feels a little more elevated, right? Not saying you got to have a suit and tie or have a tux on for it, but it just sometimes gives a little more of an elevated type of feel to it. So again, if you're seeing it, you might want to check it out. This is again Terriaq Intense from Lattafa. All right. Next one up is one that also came out earlier this year. It is my of the line within Lattafa. This is my number 2. There's another one that just came out. We may address that. We may talk about that. But as far as from the Assad line, this one is one to keep your eye out for. This is Assad Bourbon. This, now I've heard Most Wanted. I've heard some other things, or Most Wanted Parfum, I think. I don't know. But for me, this is just a nice, in the designer space of a sweet fragrance. This can be one of those that kind of works in a variety of situations, but is a nice, sweet fragrance. Got a little lavender in there, vanilla, cacao in there as well. Very nice. I was expecting when I first got it, admittedly, and it said bourbon. I was like, ooh, is it going to be a boozy fragrance? Not really boozy, but that bourbon vanilla gives maybe a hint of some boozy vanilla, but really the star is the vanilla in this, and just how this is a nice, sweet fragrance. So again, another one to be on the lookout for this holiday season from Lattafa, Assad Bourbon. Assad Bourbon. All right. Next one up is one that if you have not picked this up already, what are you waiting for? Literally. This is one that I think that for me personally, I think that any Lattafa collection should have this one in there. It's that good. It's that spot on. It's one of those that some people think is maybe more for fall. It may not necessarily be fully on for summer, depending upon how hot your summers are. But this is the one that could really, in my opinion, probably go year round. This is from Lattafa and from their Pride collection. This is Vintage Radio. And this is their take, their inspiration or inspired take on Initio's Paragon, lavender, sage, bergamot, plum, all of the beginning with some sandalwood and a little oud at the bottom. But definitely a nice fragrance, one that is in my top 5 for sure out of the House of Lattafa. And one that if you find this on a deal, especially as we're heading towards Black Friday and these other deals that are coming up between now and Christmas, take advantage of it. This is, again, Vintage Radio from Lattafa. All right. Next one, I told you I'd give you 6. So the 5th one that I'm going to give you is another one that came out earlier this year, and one that it's doing an inspired take of Blue Talisman. Now, this is a sweeter take on Blue Talisman, right? So this is definitely not trying to be a one-to-one of Blue Talisman. This is a citrus, fruity, fresh, spicy type of fragrance. But it's in the Blue Talisman line. It's in the vein. It's in the space. You definitely can pick up the DNA that's trying to drive this. However, when you compare it with the original Blue Talisman, this comes off as more of a sweeter version than that. And this works very well. If you're looking for the one-to-one, you might look elsewhere. But if you're looking for a nice take that smells great, Art of Universe is definitely one to put on your radar and maybe put in your shopping cart on your favorite discount retailer, especially when you prepare for their sales. Again, Art of Universe from Lattafa. And then the last one is one that I think every collection, of course, every collection that has Lattafa should have Khamrah, right? However, for me, since there are 3 Khamrahs, there's the Khamrah original, there's the Qahwa, and then there's the Dukhan. I think for me, this is the one that works best for me. But again, you can pick up any of the Khamrahs, and I know in Burlington, I was just there. They had a boatload of them all. In fact, they had like a full section of them just there. So you can get them, and especially as we're talking more sales, you can definitely pick them up. But for me, I think the one that works the best out of that lineup, and that's saying a lot because they're all 3 of them are really good. This one is Khamrah Dukhan. Khamrah Dukhan. Now, the reason I like this is a little more smoky, a little more spicy. This is a little more masculine to me as far as that Khamrah DNA. And it's not as sweet as Qahwa is. So Qahwa is sweet, and the original is very sweet as well. The original can lean a little feminine because of how feminine or how sweet it is, I should say. But it's still something I rocked. In fact, I could probably show you the dent in it. But when I now have this, which is Dukhan, I'm like, that's more my speed. That definitely feels more at home for me. It is, like I said, it's still got the sweetness, but there's a little extra added spice to it. There's the tobacco that's in there. This one just feels more me, as it were. So again, if you're looking for something else to pick up from a Black Friday sale or from, especially as we head into the holiday season, want to treat yourself, Lattafa's Khamrah Dukhan is one to definitely check out for you as well. All right. So listen, do this in the comments because we're definitely moving towards this holiday season. If you find deals or if there's some other things from Lattafa that you think should be in this buying guide, go ahead and drop them in the comments there. I'll probably do some other buying guides for some of the other brands, or just maybe do a buying guide for clones and a buying guide for just designers and niche. We'll figure that out, but make sure you're tapped in. Make sure you've hit that like, hit that subscribe, request your notifications. And then, of course, meet us in the comments. We'll see you next video. Have a great one. Be blessed. Peace, y'all.